welcome everyone. Team 4's group members are Csaba, TJ, which is me, Chimere, and Breann. Our presentation will be on the process control memo of Metro's Treasury, Petty Cash, and Investments. The last audit was completed on July 20th, 2007, which means that it's been quite some time since they've had an audit on this area of their business. The main issue we found were opportunities for misstatements in the following areas due to poor policies or procedures: maturing funds and investments, as well as income and interest receipts, and petty cash, the management of petty cash. There should be more focus on the management of petty cash, as well as the consideration of interest rate risk. Better segregation of duties could help lower the risk of fraud or reporting issues, and that will make the company perform a lot better. Next, Chimere will be discussing key individuals interviewed and the list of records that we required to complete our audit.
Thank you, TJ. So we actually identified a few things that we think are areas of potential risk that might not prevent, or in some cases might not be able to detect fraudulent transactions from occurring within Metro. Now, based on these areas that we have identified, like TJ mentioned, we plan to interview certain people within the organization, and these people would include people who are directly related, to the business processes that we plan to audit, as well as people whose job functions or their duties entail within this area. Now, some of the people that we plan to interview include top management level, like the CEO, the CFO, and the controller. And at mid-level management, we plan to interview maybe the audit, the staff, the treasury staff, as well as the accounting staff. Now, one of the areas that we identified that we were going to ask questions concerning is a particular control 2.5, which is within the risk and control issues for Treasury. And this particular control asks the question: does management provide suitable trained Treasury personnel with necessary resources to ensure that the objectives of the organizations are being achieved? And the response to this was yes. But as auditors, we believe that we shouldn't take things at face value. And so one of the things that we are going to be exploring is asking management to provide us with detailed information about the trainings that go on, within the Treasury Department. We're going to be asking the CEO in particular, since he is the head of the organization, we're going to be asking him, how frequent these trainings are conducted, and which organization or what body performs accreditation for these types of trainings. As far as documentation is concerned, we plan to specifically request for documents that will show certain dates of completion of the trainings. For example, a certificate of completion for a particular training. We would request a copy of that kind of a document. And what this document is going to tell us is that it will tell us the name of the person who has completed this particular training, and it will also give us the dates that the training was completed. And by doing this, we are able to cover areas within our audit coverage, so that we are not requesting for information or document that is outside of our audit coverage areas. Now, when we request this document, it will help us, just like I mentioned earlier, to make sure that our audit is covering the right range, and so that we're not looking at things that are not relevant to the audit process. Now, next, I'm going to introduce my fellow auditor, who will be talking about the risk assessment analysis and also discuss the overall risk rating. Breann.
Thank you. I'm going to discuss the risk assessment analysis worksheet that we completed for Metro's Treasury, Petty Cash, and Investments Department. We had Metro at an overall risk rating of 6.1. This rating came from the areas of the process control memo that we believe to be weak. The risk factors that we left at 0 were customer service, float, and physical harm. We didn't really think those 3 were relevant to our project. Financial and external report misstatement risk was considered to be a 4, which is a high risk rating. We believe that management could do more monitoring of the maturing funds and investments, along with income and interest receipts. Without management monitoring these accounts, it could be easy to have fraud in the financial statements. There need to be more safeguards for petty cash and a better segregation of duties that could prevent fraud and report misstatement risk from happening. With overdraft agreements and interest rate risk, for legal and regulatory on the analysis worksheet, we had found a moderate probability rating. Also, financial loss and loss of business opportunities had a high exposure rating of 4. These risk factors all contributed to the overall risk rating, which I stated earlier was 6.1. We found there to be moderate risk, which means that there is a sufficient amount of controls put in place, but there needs to be better monitoring of those controls. Next is Csaba, who will discuss the recommendations that we plan to give management.
Thank you, Breann. Hi, everyone. Lastly, I'm going to discuss the recommendations for management. We have 4 major findings that we plan to give recommendations for management. First, our first finding was that the last audit was for Treasury, petty cash, and investment was in 2007. So our recommendation would be that the Treasury, petty cash, investment committee needs to obtain an independent certified public accounting firm to complete the audits for the fiscal years of 2008 to 2012. Our second finding was that currently there are no policies for addressing interest rate risk. So our recommendation would be that the CFO should present this issue in front of the board for further action on how to monitor the risk that are associated with the interest rates. Our third finding was that there are currently no adequate provisions for overdraft agreements. Our recommendation would be that the CFO needs to have better written guidelines on their overdraft procedures. Our fourth finding was that the procedure listed in the memorandum did not specify different levels of approval for the accounting staff. Our recommendation would be that the accounting staff needs to be monitored more effectively, and this could be accomplished by better segregation of duties. So this is our ending of our presentation. Thank you for watching and listening to our presentation on Metro's internal control on Treasury, petty cash, investment,